Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the second session of our first day of 2-day international webinar. So, in this session, we have with us Dr. Sumita Goswami and our Vice Principal of this college, Dr. Sanjit Kumar Das, has also joined. So, formally, I request Dr. Das to welcome our third speaker of this session, Dr. Goswami, once.
Hello.
Yes, sir. You carry on.
Good afternoon, everybody, and I am thankful to Devbrata for continuing the session and Dr. Salam. And I request ma'am to please give her lecture so that we can be immensely benefited with her deliberation. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Das. I now request our co-convener of this webinar, Professor Shishendu Sarkar, to add to introduction of this speaker.
Am I audible?
Yes, you are audible.
Okay. Good afternoon, everyone, and a very warm welcome once again. Let me take opportunity to introduce myself first. I am Shishendu Sarkar, co-convener of this webinar. This is our technical session 2. In this session, we have only one speaker, and it is my pleasure to introduce Dr. Sumita Goswami, who is a material researcher with more than 10 years of admirable research experience. She obtained her bachelor and master degrees in physics from Jadavpur University, Kolkata. She also did her PhD from the same university in the field of material science and nanotechnology. During his research career, including postdoc in CENIMAT I3N Group of Portugal, she has published in several high-impact peer-reviewed journals and proceedings of ISI and worked for several international journals and projects. She currently is a senior researcher in Alma Science, Portugal, with principal responsibility of developing and building blocks for cellulose-based smart electronics. Okay, now I would request Dr. Sumita Goswami to start your presentation.
Thank you. Thank you very much for your nice introduction. And I want to thank heartily to all the persons in the organizing team of this college who is doing this webinar. Sorry. So thank you once again for introducing me, and I'm very much thankful for the invitation in this international webinar arranged by you in the Vairav Ganguly College. And I think the subject of this webinar is the most discussed one nowadays everywhere in every corner of the world. So it's COVID-19, its impact is what are the best practices that we need, and what's next. So everything is included in this webinar. So thank you. I share my screen now. Is it visible? Hello?
It is not coming, ma'am.
Okay.
Please share your screen.
Yeah, I'm sharing it. Okay.
On the sharing screen, you should select the screen or tabs or PPT, and then select share.
Sorry.
Click on share screen tab, then select the PowerPoint screen and click on share.
Yeah, I know, but again, is some problem, and I can't share my video, the screen, actually.
Is it available in Google Drive, ma'am?
Yes, but
You can
Wait.
open the slides.google, then therefrom you can also present your presentation.
but sorry. Right now, I don't see in the screen that share screen option so that I can share. Just like before, it's abandoned.
May I request Dr. Salam to open the access to the
I-
panelists so that they can share?
I have make open all panelists. Devuda, I am making you the host. You do the needful.
Okay.
Okay. Share.
I think now it is going to be happen.
Let's see, because
Yes,
it's
yes.
always asking for this password.
Okay.
Oh, now it is okay.
We are seeing your
it's-
desktop.
Okay. Sorry. So you can see my screen, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Thank you. So,
Dr. Goswami, please carry on. Okay, it's
Yeah.
okay now?
yeah,
Now
yeah,
it's
it's
okay,
okay.
now it's okay.
It's okay now. It's okay
Proceed.
now. Thank you. So yeah, my talk today is over this COVID-19 and a lesson to learn for all of us. So I'm currently a senior researcher in Alma Science. It's a research transfer organization, and we have many branches through different industry and also different university and institutes. And one of these is Universidade Nova de Lisboa, which is near to Lisbon of FCT, and my office and the workplace is this. And here are my contact details. If after the discussion, for some reason you can contact. So I would start with a bit where I am now, and it's Portugal. So it's a very small country in the European Union, maybe one of the smallest one, and it's mostly famous for these two things. Though currently, one is for the football and one is for the cork industrial base. But after living here for more than 6 years and almost 7. Actually, I'm more fond of here, all the beaches, the wonderful greeneries, the Atlantic Ocean here. So there are much more to explore here in Portugal. And this is the place where I work. This is my university, and also our lab is within the university campus. And this is very near to the ocean, you can see. So it's a nice place to visit in both sense, for work and travel. So everybody is welcome. And the starting from the grad students, there are masters, there are PhDs, all the professors, like a normal university is, but the work environment is really nice. Even I'm a foreigner here, so in that sense, I can say it's a wonderful experience all through. So this is the main concern of today's webinar. I think it's 2020, and we are experiencing something really first in our life. Though these words really existed from past, of course, but we have never seen them before to work so severely for everybody, like starting from the poor to rich, to a person in every corner of the world, almost everybody is facing these 4 words in their life now, very important. One is the social distancing. The other is the stay home, stay safe. Okay. Before this, maybe many of us want to do that, okay, we will be staying home and then we'll do fun and we'll enjoy the life. But now I think all of us mostly waiting for when we can go back to our work. So yeah, this is new. And of course, the lockdown. The lockdown, we have heard probably regarding some industries, some companies, okay, this has been going to be in lockdown. But now one country as a whole is going to lockdown. So that's new. And nevertheless, the quarantine. It was also before for some diseases, maybe the health workers and the patients who have been through those diseases are more were more able to accustom to this quarantine situation. But now, as a whole, one country or the one continent is going to quarantine. So all these things, I think, are new to us, and is because of this century pandemic, COVID-19. So I'm a material scientist, as my introduction says, and I have worked for more than 10 years in material science and nanotechnological research. Though my research is not directly connected to the bio and the medical field. So, and I think the other speakers of this webinar, they would be more more informative about giving you the deep insights regarding this issue. But being a person from academics and being a responsible citizen, I have something, of course, in mind, which I want to share with you today in this webinar. I think everybody of us has now some opinions regarding COVID-19 everywhere. So let's share. This is kind of a timeline, I think. In December 2019, in China, something new was detected, some new virus. It was not detected as coronavirus, but everybody was saying something new has been detected, like pneumonia in China, and it is really alarming in there. But everybody was like, okay, it's in China, it will be there, it will be stopped there by the government and all, and everybody was like being in rest there in their own houses, in their own countries, looking not very very much tense or worried about what's happening there. But then just after 2 months, the scenario changes. On February 11, many countries have started being affected, especially in Europe, Italy. And I think by the time now, we already know that maybe already in February, many countries were being affected, but they don't even realize that they were affected by this virus. So at that time, the virus was named as SARS-CoV-2 by the International Committee on Virus Taxonomy, depending on their tests and taxonomy and all those things. And the same day, the Director General of WHO designated the disease caused by this SARS-CoV-2 as coronavirus disease 2019, or shortly as COVID-19. On March 11th, so just 1 month after, who declared the COVID-19 outbreak as a pandemic? Though it's still under critical judgment and all those things, that was already much delayed announcement. But still, on March 11th, so just in 3 months, it was announced as pandemic, because it by the time of 3 months, it has already spreaded over many countries, many continents, and a huge number of people were being affected, and many deaths were coming in. As of May 2020, this has spread across the world in over 185 countries. So almost all over the world, and with millions of infections and hundreds of thousands of deaths. So it's about May, and now we are on the end of June. And I put these question marks because all over the world it's a completely devastating scenario, and the countries are opening again, of course, for economic reasons, because most of the countries are already being in 2 or 3 months or 1 month of this kind of lockdown, and they can't stay anymore because of economic breakdown and the threat of economy. They are scared. So even without bothering about health, many countries are opening. But was it a sudden attack? I think no. I think many of you maybe have seen this video. And this is being popular after 4 or 5 years. This was the TED talk by the famous billionaire Bill Gates, where he was saying about not this coronavirus, but he was saying that you can go and see this TED talk if you have not seen yet, but I think it has been hugely watched now after 4 or 5 years, where he was saying that he's more bothered about not the nuclear war, but he was saying rather that we should be more scared of the coming virus attacks, maybe, because it can be due to some natural causes, it can be some bioterrorism, whatever it may be, but it's the virus, it's some microbes which is going to attack us, and we would be hugely affected by it. This is the time that we should wake up. This is kind of a wake-up call for us to make the preparation, to make the plans, to make the activities, so that we all together can fight against such a threat which is coming in near future. And this is just okay. Yeah, exactly. That is the point. If you see the picture, it almost looks like coronavirus now you are seeing everywhere in pictures, but it's like a common influenza virus that he was showing then, and he was saying, because he has been engaged in a lot of philanthropic works, and his foundation, his and his wife's foundation, is all over the world giving fundings on different or numerous medical things, diagnostics, tests, research. So maybe they were speculating something is coming, something big is coming, which can ruin our society, our civilization, and can put a question mark. And so he was keeping emphasis that time, right back in 2015, that we shouldn't be more worried about the nuclear war. Instead, we should be more worried about this kind of virus attack. And he was also saying normally these TED talks are really popular, especially to the industrialists and the government bodies, especially when it is by this kind of influential people. So he was urging to the governments that we should invest more on this kind of medical research to combat this kind of virus or sudden attacks or sudden epidemics. And we are not enough prepared, so we should really work from now on. Maybe then we'll be really prepared. But I think we were careless, and still we are, so we were not prepared. And I was just listening to some of his recent talks in May 2020, this year, when all these COVID things already worldwide popular. So he was saying that even after this talk, only 5% 5% of which he was proposing has been done all through the world, only 5%. So you can imagine that how careless we are, and we can see the result of that. And so the impacts, well, endless to count so far, even hard to realize. I think all of them are not even possible to count or realize properly that how good and bad they are. Some of them are already recognized, but not all of them. Maybe in near future we will see more good and bad things coming due to COVID effects. But this is kind of a thing that I got in internet. You will see it's a very nice gist for the impacts to see. Potential losers: tourism, leisure, aviation, transport, the transport related factories, the construction and real estate, manufacturing, which are for non-essential products, financial services, education as well, oil and gas. And then these are the things which are kind of a potential gainer in this field: agriculture, e-commerce, in internet and the telecommunication, personal healthcare, food processing and retail, medical supply and services. So these are the places where Corona is giving more to them. Economy, education, everything is going down, and poverty is rising really high. But one thing for sure we can see, which is really nice, and I think everybody of us we have noticed that the nature is healing. Before and after Corona, this is a cartoon. So before and after Corona is a huge change. What government couldn't make, what the environmentalists were screaming but cannot do, and what a lot of fundings or a lot of good Samaritans cannot make for the nature, COVID is doing for it. So we are stuck at home, we are stuck at different countries individually to their own places. And so the pollutions, whether it is air pollution, water pollution, the sound pollution, everything is really have come to a very low percentage. The carbon emission, everything. So and you can see the animals, so they are behaving, you know, in a way which maybe you could have seen decades earlier. The clear sky, the starry nights, so all these things are visible now like it was before a few decades maybe. But I don't know if we are still learning, because we are still seeing these kind of pictures available in the social media, where you can see the masks, the all those plastic protective things they are getting from the sea. So we are still maybe not learning our lessons. Maybe something worse would come to give us something more to learn. But on my personal perspective, what I can see, the main lessons to learn I have put in this slide. One, and I think the most important one, is the health is first for everyone. So we should prioritize health over everything, We should really take care of our health. I mean, like to our own levels, of course, but also we should take care of our nature. The health of nature is also important. Mother Nature needs our help to breathe, and like it's vice versa. You know, if we both don't help each other to recover our health, it would be dramatically worse even in future. So it's a very important thing. And then the second next is like each and every human being needs to be provided the same healthcare facility. I think in many corners of the world, many people are there who are fighting for this kind of human rights, that each and every person should be taken care of with the same healthcare facility. But though we don't see in the practicality, but I think Corona is giving also us this lesson that even if it is poor or rich or of any religion, any culture, from any place, from any continent, they should be treated in the same manner, with the same equipments. Otherwise, it will be spreaded and it will destroy everybody. So it's necessary to take care of the health, not only for our own reason, but also for others, if we want to save and we want to live. So we have to live together and give this facility to everyone in the same manner. The third point, which is also not very negligible, and you can see if it would be done, maybe we don't see this much of effect. The medical and other researches which are beneficial to society should be endorsed more. They need resources, they need time, and it's like, I think all of the governments, they mostly are pouring their money in defense, in space. So these are not the two sides that exist. There is something even more which is necessary, and I think it is hard time to realize that the medical and the other researches should be really prioritized and should be really endorsed more, and it's for the mankind. It's needed that we live, then we can do other things, and it should be like done in a, like we do fix our strategies for war. We prepare ourselves, so prepare our soldiers, our teams, and logistics, everything to fight against and then to protect our own country. But it should be done in the same way for the medical things, because if you don't have good health, then you can't do anything else. So what's the practice that is needed? Well, Corona has proved these two. I think these are the two common practices that we need to do in each aspect of our life. But now it's proving even more that the responsibility and kindness, of course. So responsibility, I think by the time almost all of us have begun to believe, and we know that no one will be entirely safe from this virus or the virus like this one, maybe in future, until there's a vaccine. And until then, we need and we must need this social distancing and masks. So that will be part of kind of a new normal. This is the new term also, new normal. So we have to practice this, and we have to do that not only for our own sake, but also for others. And in turn, actually, if we think for others in this case, it will in turn help us actually. If others are infected, we'll be finally in the infection again. So it's a mutual thing that we need to practice. But that doesn't mean that physical distancing. It doesn't mean you can see these are the pictures from WHO. So they are making these banners to make people more aware that social distancing or the physical distancing is not social isolation. Okay, you should stay connected. And nowadays, in the world of Internet of Things, I think it's really easier also to stay connected with your loved ones. Okay, if your neighbor is in trouble, go and reach out, help. So it's not social isolation. We should take care of our own responsibility at our own level. Okay, and of course the kindness. I think we can see really the poverty is going really down. So we have to be kind enough to help the poor, because for them it's not the corona, it's more the hunger and the scarcity of food. the joblessness, the homeless, everything is having more impact on them. So we have to really take care of these things, and we have to think to be a little bit more kind at our own levels as much as possible, wherever we can and for whomever we can. So now coming to my part of expertise, which is material science and nanotechnology. So I was just thinking, and not me, I think many of the researchers like me in this field, we are thinking like, can nanotechnology aid the battle against COVID-19? So it's a big question, like all other fields I think facing regarding their, I think with the respect to their own self, that how they can help, how they can help with the battle or with the patients, or from their perspectives. So we being the researchers, the material researchers, nanotechnology researchers, we are also thinking from our perspective. So these are the pictures of these deadly viruses, and this looks really beautiful, aren't they? But okay, they are not beautiful in sense of their impacts. As you can see, many deaths out of them. So we need to be careful, and let's see what we can do by nanotechnology. This picture is a commercial picture where they're saying what they are doing over the face mask, over the antibacterial spray, the sanitizers, and a lot of things like that, the PPEs, the personal protective kits. So things like that, I think nanotechnology or the material science have ample scope to help and to aid this battle against COVID-19. And it's not only my word, is in this paper that I have cited, this ACS Nano Journal, where it's saying that nanotechnology is not only inspired by virology to develop novel delivery tools, but also at the forefront in combating dangerous viruses. Nanotechnology can help actually the fight against viruses, both inside and outside the host. And before COVID, several nanotechnology-based platforms have already been successful in preclinical studies to counter several human viral pathogens, such as HIV, human papillomavirus, herpes simplex, and respiratory viruses. So we expect that nanotechnology-based approaches should be leveraged to help the fight against COVID-19, as well as many future pandemics like this, maybe in a number of ways, not maybe directly, but in a number of ways. So these are the 5 important things where it can be involved, or is being involved actually. Novel vaccines and drugs, where nanomaterials can be leveraged for direct delivery of broad spectrum antivirals and to support targeted therapies to the lungs. Then second, highly specific, rapid, and sensitive tests to detect infection or to detect immunity, the serological tests, I think, which are really highly needed and are being done, going through all over the world now for COVID. Besides, superfine filters for face masks or blood filtering, which is also huge importance in this case. You see the face mask and things like that are really are the protecting gears for us now. And novel surfaces or surface coatings that are resistant to viral adhesion and can inactivate the virus. For example, using copper braces or copper containing alloys rather than stainless steel would provide effective antimicrobial surfaces on the doorknobs or the bed rails. For example, in the healthcare engineering, it can be really helpful if we go for these materials instead of just stainless steel. The TiO2 coatings, the titanium dioxide coatings. So these are kind of the field that nanotechnology can help to fight. And the This is also last but not the least, the improvement of tools for contact tracing. This is also like those other 4 things that I said in the initial slide. This contact tracing is also very important, especially during COVID-19. We have seen that how effective it is. When one person is infected and they are tracing out in a small duration where he was, or he or she was, and who were the persons he or she met and talked to. So they are kind of tracing all those contacts and putting them in isolations and things. So this is very necessary, and this model has worked for countries like South Korea and Germany, where they didn't go for so strict lockdowns, but they have gone for like some restrictions. You can say strict restriction, just that, not lockdowns. So this is a nice picture to see what people are doing in the field of nanotechnology in this respect and what is doable. So use of nanomaterials in the PPE, the personal protective units, and where you can use the nanomaterials, like in the face masks, to in these layers, you can provide some nanoparticles like silver nanoparticles or titanium dioxide nanoparticles, which can prohibit or control the entrance of the pathogens to the respiratory tract. It can be used in the direct delivery to the pulmonary system and through the inhalators, so that it can also control the entrance to the lungs and entrance to the alveoli, the virus entrance to the lungs and alveoli. It can also contribute over targeting the ACE2 receptor or viral ACE proteins, where regarding the cell bindings of this kind of viruses. Besides, neutralization of viral particles by nanomaterials. Nanomaterial-based photodynamic therapies, which can be used maybe for systematic inactivation of this kind of virus. Nanomaterial-based vaccines and immunomodulation for activation of the immune system. In fact, this kind of immune-targeted nanotherapeutics can be developed to the rational manufacture at the nanoscale level by designing nanomaterials that are able to amplify host immune response. Nanobiosensors, which are also very much valuable alternative to the conventional laboratory equipment for clinical and environmental analysis. So as I was saying about the direct combating, or who are fighting in the front lines, or the front fighters, they are using this kind of PPKs, and the mask here is also a nice contribution of this technology being happened. And this is recently published in one research article in a famous journal, where they are saying they have tested actually, instead of just one layer in the mask, if you use bilayer or multiple layers, the chances of the virus going in, or the aerosol, the virus together with, of course, that emitting the aerosol, it can be protected in more number or more percentage. And they have shown, like suppose it's a cloth mask, this is one layer in the mask, and this is another layer which can be silk or flamings or something, some other materials. They have shown that together with the mechanical filtration and electrostatic filtration, these two mechanisms, it is able to protect or to prohibit the entrance of this kind of viruses until 80% for the size of 300 nanometer or less, and 90% for over 300 nanometer size. Well, in this scenario, we should know that the size of this COVID-19 virus is in the nanometer range, and on an average, the size is 100 or 125 nanometer. So you can see these, most of the masks, they are saying about the size 300 nanometer. So you can understand 100 nanometer or 125 nanometer is the size where it's really penetrable. And also researchers have seen that it depends also on the leakage or the unfitness of the mask. So it can deduce the 50 to 60% of the efficiency of those masks. So we have to be also careful about that. But there is a lot more to do to develop this mask in more efficient way, to work more efficiently. Maybe multiple layers will work much better than the things that are available now in the markets. But at the same time, not only that, I mean, like as I was saying, what kind of nanomaterials can be used in this sense? This kind of air filter and mask devices can be improvised with the silver nanoparticles, titanium oxide nanoparticles, electrospun nanofibers. Simple coatings of these kind of things can improve the efficiency of the masks. Okay, at the same time, this is also important to see about the cost, and we have to work more on that so that it becomes more cost effective, so that it can be like available to everybody. And also now I think one report I saw that they are not only controlling in the mask, they are not only controlling the capture of the aerosol droplets, but also it's kind of immobilizing and killing the virus just right up there. So this is also a very nice thing, that we can develop such masks where the mask is not only protecting from the virus, but also immobilizing the virus or killing the virus there, and would be more effective to fight against this kind of infectious diseases. And nanomaterials like graphene, translucent dichalcogenides, two-dimensional carbides, nitrides, these are the things that are being used and tested for these kind of things. And also for the PPE, it's the same. So as I am now in a European country, and I have seen here a lot of things happening from really very, very close. So I would like to share some things what we are seeing, what European Union strategies were. They really took these chain things as concrete strategies right from the beginning. So slowing down the spread of the virus by they kind of they kind of spread themselves right, like the war zones, and the health workers were like they were working in the war zones, so that was the utmost emergency. And not only that, they checked the cross-border transports. They stopped their border activities to come and go around the different countries, providing the medical equipment. They tried at their best to provide the medical equipments to each hospital, whether it is government or the private sector. They are trying to reach everywhere, promoting research for a vaccine. I know personally because we are from the FCT University. So FCT itself has a lot of projects they have funded to literally work on these kind of vaccines and to do more researches. Repatriating EU citizens, so they are also taking care of the citizens who are outside EU and then taking them back to their home ground, boosting the European solidarity, supporting the economy. They have, I think, they have funded a billion of euros to back up the economy, protecting jobs through their social security service, helping the EU to recovery by a lot of the funds they have already generated, and they are still doing that, supporting the partners around the globe by health workers or health equipments or monetarily. And the 10th important thing, I think, we are nowadays crowded and surrounded by a lot of misinformation. So EU is also fighting against those disinformations, and from the government sectors, they are saying and clarifying, look, this is the fake news, so don't believe on them. Something like these things they are doing as their strategies as well. In Portugal, I think the Guardian is a renowned news journal, and there they mentioned that instead of being 22% of its whole population aged over 65 or over who are really vulnerable to this virus, all of you know. So the country has so far registered just over 37,672 total cases, where now the active cases are more than 12,000 and only 1,523 deaths. This is the count of June 17, so 2 or 3 days ago. And so you can see where there is Italy, Spain, these kind of countries are really near to Portugal, but still it has performed well, and with also a lot more aged people. 22% is not so small. So what was the reason? And the medical specialists, at least they are saying that this country went to the lockdown at an earlier stage of epidemic than the fellow European states. I mean, like on 16th March 20, we were already in the lockdown in this country, where it was just, I think, after 4 or 5 days, Italy or Spain was going in lockdown. And they were hugely affected. So it was really earlier, and then it was also more controllable. And when I saw the website, currently this is the active cases. You can see the curve is going down and now more flat. Total deaths, it's also in a flat zone, and this is the daily death now. It's going to decrease by August, hopefully. And if you have seen Wiki, I think our curves are following these curves. These are now most popular curves in the world, I think. So you see what can be the effects of the inadequate mitigation plans, or what can be the worst scenario if we don't increase the healthcare capacity. We should really work on that. We should increase the healthcare capacity, the testing, the contact tracing. All these things should be increased at a high level, at an emergency level. Now, this is our university. In Portugal, and I want to also share that what we were doing and what we have done so far. So in the British newspaper, The Telegraph, one news was really highlighted: why Portugal's COVID-19 test rate is more than double almost every other nation. So you can see this was May 19 report, and this was already higher than more countries like US, UK, Sweden, South Korea, Belgium, Italy. So what was the reason? How can Portugal is, for example, I can say that Portugal, with respect to the other first world countries, is not so economically strong. It's so how can it manage? So it's I think the immense efforts from not only from the government, the Portuguese government, but also from the private and the university sector, and a government, of course, that really allowed them to act, tell a big part of story. I mean, the government allowed the university sector and the private sectors to act together, and then give them the permission to do their research, to do their tests, and allowed their tests as well, allowed to improve the kits, and here it comes. So it was done by our university together with the Staff Vita company in collaboration. So now we have a pocket COVID test unit, so that can be done by this unit at home. But this was a technological solution which can come through our university students and some professors who are working voluntarily, just because the government allowed us to work in that time for this without any hesitation. And then now our university are also conducting serological tests on the academic community. Of course, it's all free and volunteer, and they are going to do it until 21, as we think that this thing is not going away so easily and in a small time. These are the students and professors there. You can see in just 2 weeks, this was in the beginning, now it's more. So this was in the beginning. In just 2 weeks, they can manage to make 300 liters of disinfectants and 400 visor masks. So these things I'm sharing because these things show us that what we can do, even at our university or college levels, with the students, we can make it happening and contribute our part with respect to our own fields. It's possible. And this was another project, Open Air. I think it was volunteered by 24 of volunteer students and professors were there, and they were actually aiming to identify and repair the ventilators and the equipments like that, which are also available in diverse institutions, public, private, collective, individual, education, industry, to equip the hospitals, you know. And now what I have heard that 2 new prototypes of ventilators they have also made already, and they are going to be soon available in market by the approval of after the approval of the government. So that was the contribution from our university, and now I am showing you the UNICEF report, and they call it Youth Call on COVID-19, and they did this mass survey in over 31 countries, mostly in the Latin America. So they are also not very economically or by health strong like the other countries like US or UK. So among 10,500 young people in such countries, I think it was 4th June of 20, they published this report. What are their thoughts? So it's good to know that they know their responsibilities, though most of them, they believe that the action should be taken by all of us, the government, the public, to make this thing to overcome this scenario sooner. But still, we need safe and clear information. Use the traditional media as primary source of information. Like they were also asking, okay, young adults, kids, you are maybe not much vulnerable, but you can make other old persons affected. So be careful with that. Keep isolation, keep social distancing, but not isolation. And these are like some quotes they give. And take care of your grandparents, keep your distance physically, but remind them you are there and you love them. So they are, I think, aware of their duties, and it's a good sign. Now we are trying to coming back to normal life gradually. Here, these are the pictures of Portugal I'm showing, and we started to come back to the normal, but gradually in 3 phases. I remember we started on 3rd May, the first phase, which when the very essential office or stores were open. Then on 18th May, the rest, and finally on 1st June, the schools, the crash for the small kids, those were becoming open. But you can see the pictures, these are from now. So how people are working. This is our lab, the picture of our lab. The students are going for the practical classes, but with proper distancing, proper protective things, transport systems, metros, buses, and they are being sanitized, disinfected. So things are like, but what's next? I think we should keep calm, though it's kind of sounds impossible for us. But okay, though economy and life all are going downwards, but we should really keep calm and carry on. We should be a bit more patient, and we should be opening our countries or our stores or ourselves gradually, not very first manner. But I think COVID is just a beginning or a reminder. It can be even worse. It's a respiratory transmission. That's why it is so dangerous. But it can be even more. It's not so fatal. It's not so fatal so far. I mean, like mortality rate is not really high. So if suppose even it is more contagious and more fatal on the mortality rate, if some viruses come like that, imagine the situation. So we are not prepared. So we have to work on that. We have to understand that the health comes first, and it's not rocket science. That you can see that the vaccine is not like a thing you can develop in just 1 or 2 months, and every month counts. Every month is taking many lives, so you have to be prepared, and the resource time should be invested on this kind of research. And so I think for this kind of outbreaks, we should be prepared. Novel health technologies like the artificial intelligence, bioelectronics, diagnostics, this should be to early screening, to early detect these kind of outbreaks, to early screening of the potential infected patients, treatment facilitation. These things I think are needed in coming future. These things have to be increased, and our healthcare capacity should be increased. We should foresee these kind of outbreaks, not that when we are in the outbreak and we are searching things. No, we should be prepared and foresee this. Fast track identifying, testing, production of effective drugs, vaccines, and basic necessities for protection or prevention of such diseases should be developed, and also in a low budget so that everyone can afford it. It's a matter of health. Well, I don't know if this is a good news or all, but I just, I think on 16 June 2020, I saw an article in Nature where they're saying, it's also, it came, I think, in BBC News, and now I think the healthcare system, NHS, they are guided to use this medicine, but dexamethasone, which is a kind of steroid, and but among the patients, they are saying that among the patients who are critically ill, like in the ventilation or in the oxygen, they are getting a bit saved by this drug. Okay, so but it needs also a large trial. So until then, how to best protect yourself? COVID, or it can be any other contagious disease. Practice social distancing. Wash your hands regularly. Stay home whenever you can. Not go unnecessarily outside. Protect your family, protect others in that way. However, we still need strengthening of our world. We see a lot of inequality all through the world. We should really change it. And this is my lab and team here. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Sumita Goswami, for your wonderful presentation in scientific perspective, mainly nanotechnology. So
Please
we
stop
have,
you sharing the screen.
Yeah, okay.
we have some questions.
Now,
Of course.
we would like to ask the audience also, participants also, to raise your hand if you have any questions.
Any questions from audience? Please raise your hand. So we have questions from YouTube Live that which type of nanomaterials composition can be used to combat COVID-19 research?
Well, I think so far different kind of nanoparticles like gold, ferric oxide, silver nanoparticles, titanium dioxide nanoparticles, these are being researched. Okay. But I think the other speakers who are more related to the biomedical field, they can give you more information related to this. But so far I know these are the nanoparticles. They are hugely being used in the test or the modifications of the related diagnostics and therapeutics from the nano side.
Okay. Another question is,
Mr. Probir Karar is there in the audience who want to ask some question. Mr. Karar, Probir Karar, are you getting?
So I raise a question to ma'am. May I?
Okay. Yeah, sure. Thank you.
In a country like India, we have a population of 130 crore and we are testing only say 50 lakhs. So counting could make any major difference?
Sorry, but counting in what sense? The testing counting or the counting of?
Exactly, testing, counting testing.
Well, so far, because as I was saying, that we were totally unprepared to combat this kind of virus, and it's still we are preparing. We are in the preparation stage. You can see, right? So, and in the preparation stage, counting matters because you need a lot of data to see what are the effects. And the data, of course, will vary, whether depending on the country, depending on the region, depending on the temperature, depending on the humidity, depending on the people's livelihood, like how they live, how they mix with each other. So it depends. So, and of course, that database needs to be checked, and also the tests should be done more. Otherwise, this counting will have a lot of faults, I think, which was happening initially in every country when they were thinking, okay, it's just maybe a normal influenza flu, it's not so serious. So they were not testing so hugely. But I can tell you that the countries like the Germany and South Korea, you can see they didn't go for lockdown. They go for contact tracing, and they did immense number of testing, and either the infected ones or the close ones who come in the direct or indirect contact. And from there, that database, they got really help to fight against these in a much proper way than many other big countries, even like US or UK. You can see they are much strong in economy or what else, but I think they are not fighting so well. Rather, the South Korea, Germany, Sweden, these countries, they are small, but they are tactfully acting, and I think this counting
Managing
really
this.
matters. Yeah.
Dr.
I think this
Siddhartha
one.
Chatterjee is there. Dr. Siddhartha Chatterjee from participants. Yes, Dr. Chatterjee, ask your question.
Ma'am, actually your presentation was really very good. Okay, so
Please speak loud. Please speak loud.
Okay, that's it. Am I audible?
Yeah.
Okay, your presentation was very good, but I'm
Thank you.
Student and teacher of from social science basically. My subject is political science. Okay, so I just want to ask one question from social science background. That you told that Mother Nature, we have to help Mother Nature to breathe. But
this is my personal opinion. I think many others are thinking.
I really respect, and there is no doubt it is mandatory. But we are now living within the system of the capitalization, industrialization. Okay, so poverty is everywhere. Okay, so industrialization is mandatory. So because of lots of people are here, I mean, say within the India also. So how is it possible maintain the both sides? Because when we are living within the system of the capitalism or the industrialization, so is it really going to possible? We have to also think about the elevation of the poverty. So how is it possible? I just don't know that.
Okay, I can say you my perspective. Okay, so one thing is, of course, you are right. Industrialization, capital, all these things are really important. But I think all of us are seeing for the last 2 and 3 months, these industries were totally stopped. Exactly. They were totally stopped, and we are surviving. So I'm not saying that it's needed to totally stop everything. Of course, they were going on through their savings. Now it's not, so they are obliged to open everything to make economy again running. So of course it shouldn't be stopped. But the thing is that I think we are doing something over. Something is being overdone. If you see the industrial scales or whatever regarding the capitalization, something is like being overdone in those aspects. Maybe that is not necessary. Okay, maybe like suppose nowadays every one of us has in our at least in our labels, I see most of us have 2 laptops, 2 phones. In a house of 3 people, you can see 3 mobile phones. Okay, and then when it is not working, we are buying another one. So where is going the other one that is not working? Is going for a complete waste, and that waste is being garbage to the developing countries. Not in the first world countries, they are sending it to the developing countries. So and huge pollution, huge things we are making this extra garbage ourselves. If you just want the mobile for like imagine 10 years back or 20 years back. You didn't need two mobiles or more than one laptop, or I mean, things like that we can change. So these also controls a lot, like the demand controls the supplies, right? If the demand increase, or is vice versa actually. So if we are not going for 3 mobiles or 4 laptops, or instead of having one car I'm buying another one, so the supply chain would be also making less, and these industries will be in a controlled manner they will produce, right? I think we are going beyond over. So that's why I think that's how we can do one part. We should stop somewhere. We were doing over, right? And some habits I think we can make, like I don't know how many of us do the gardening or go for breathing in fresh airs. So I don't know what we are like leaving for our kids. So it's really high time. The corona is really positive in that sense, that it's really high time. We are at home. We should think over it. We should really seriously think over these things.
Okay, thank you, ma'am, for your nice response. There is a Prakash M. Munnoli, who is also a participant of this webinar. Mr. Munnoli, please ask your question.
Yeah, good afternoon, ma'am. I'm Dr. Prakash speaking. I just want you to throw some light on community living, ma'am, because as we're engaging a lot of community people by going to villages, can you just throw some light on it, ma'am?
Community living, like actually I don't understand properly the question. Can you just elaborate, please?
Shall I repeat it?
No, not I can hear you, but I'm not understanding from what point of view you want the answer. Like, what is
now in the sense, ma'am, you have given the directions to the learned living, all the people, what we can do, what precautions we can take. But when you go to the downtrodden peoples, they're absolutely no mobiles, no this thing, something of that kind. Just want your ideas or expectations, what I can do in India.
Okay. When I was saying about mobile, I was just giving an example. Okay, but we can say in different terms. Like suppose all of us, I think in India it was also prohibited few months back, or maybe from last year, or I don't know which time, I don't remember. But for some shops which are really multiplex or something, the plastic bags were being prohibited, right? But and people and then people where they were not listening to the rules and the regulations, and then the government they put, or the marketization, they put some cost on that. So then people, okay, I have to pay money for the plastic bag, then I can carry one bag and I can save the money. So that was their thought, but it should be the other way. We should think of why we are needing all these plastic things. I think rejecting the plastic things or one-time use disposable things. You saw that picture I showed, it was from social media, that we are using the masks. Of course, they are mostly one-time use, and we are throwing here and there. It's not a good practice. It's not kind of a responsible citizen. Even if it's a lower level of people are now forced to use the mask or things like that. So at least small things we can do, I think, each of us. And not only that, like I think many of us have the old people or less educated people who are not aware. Still now they are seeing in different view. Okay, so we can more educate them from the level of ours, like everybody of us, the students, the teachers, not only the teachers, I think that even the students, they can at least tell to their the members of their family, and they can educate them of what about the things that we can do. These are the minimum things we can do on our personal basis. Like as I was saying, another the mobile phone was example, but this is another example. We can minimize the plastic usage, and it will really help. We can use the mask and things, but then properly throw them in the proper places, not like here and there, and then it's making things even worse. So I think these are
Let's ask
Okay.
some
Hello.
relevant questions. Let
Thank you
Hello.
very
let me
much.
conclude. Let's ask
Hello.
some
Hello.
relevant questions.
Dr. Pravir
Smita
Karan
Di.
is there. Pravir
Ha, ha,
Karan,
ha.
Mr. Pravir Karan, just ask your question.
Yeah. Thank you, ma'am, for your very nice presentation. I just want to
Thank you.
know what is your take regarding, you see that globally, if you see the recovery rate, it is going very high. As a case in point, in India, it is more than 55% right now. So my point is that we have not yet developed a vaccine or the right dose of the COVID-19. Still, we are hoping that the recovery rate will be much faster. So what is your take regarding this recovery rate? It is a country like us, we are also recording a recovery rate more than 55% till date.
Mm.
Okay. So what is
Mhm.
your take? I just want to know that, is it so that the COVID-19, the virulent type of this disease is going down through mutation or something like that? Would you please tell me something regarding this?
At least so far, I am searching or seeing the research papers or the journals or having the views of the experts at my level or higher levels. It's my opinion that it's not going to be away just by mutation. No, not in near future. Even if it goes, something new will arrive, which can be even fatal. As I was saying, COVID is not so fatal. Okay, that's why you can see the recovery rates, and even in India, COVID is because it's not that fatal. It's the mortality rate is really low, 1 to maximum 3% or even less, I think. But in future, even something worse can be coming. And it's not just will go by fluke. It's not going to be mutated and we will go. As I was saying, we can mutate this COVID, but then next, what next? It can be something else. So we, of course, for complete removal, we need vaccine and proper vaccine to come. And I know in every country the research is going on, and I know preclinical tests are also done. At least 10 to 15 vaccines are being tested, but this is a long time process, to arrive in the market, to be approved, to be usable. It needs a lot more steps and a lot more time. So until then, we have to practice the base practices that I have said: social distancing, but not isolation, proper washing your hands, face masks, things like that.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. Dr. Mr. Shishendu Sarkar, you can proceed with the questions now.
Shomita Di, Deobrato here.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you for your nice presentation.
Thank you.
And being a pupil of physics fraternity, this is very difficult to say these technical questions like immunology or something else. So I have a general question. Apart from sharing the border with Spain, in your country, Portugal, how does the administration flattening the curve in spite of in Spain you see what the fatal effect is.
Yeah.
In spite of that, Portugal is taking quite well.
Yeah.
So what was the
I was
measure
right.
of the administration there?
Yeah, it's not
And
only
what
that.
is the scenario now?
Yeah, now I can say, as I was giving just few pictures, but I can say you what I was facing. I went to the lab, so I can see people are. It's not only the government or the administration. The thing is that the public, whatever may be the reason, the medical, some medical experts, they are saying that as Portugal is not so economically strong like other first world countries, so the people of Portugal, they know it. And they know that we are going, if Italy is not is like that, Spain is like, they are much more stronger in economy than Portugal. Okay. And not only
In
economy,
terms
the
of healthcare
healthcare also. So that was what made, so some experts are saying that maybe the people have already realized that and we don't want to die, so let's go with the government and let's hear what they're saying, whatever it may be. At least it will save our lives. Okay. And but that was one reason also, I think so, that people here obey all those things. Even now when it is open, Okay, I can see in my lab where we were like in a simple, the offices are like the lab offices are not yet open. So we are not allowed to go to the office. We are just going to the lab works. That means which are really emergency or urgent. And there we are going, and in a like a big space where we were almost working 20 or 30 people together. Now there are just 5. So restricted, and they're routinely weekly booking every system so that they just even however maybe the emergency, they just reach their 5 and they work, and after the work, and people are working in slots, so times, different time slots and time schedule, and they are going to according to that, and after finishing their job they are going back to their home. Okay, that's one thing, that they are still obeying the government. And the second most important thing, as I showed in one of my slides, that our country has locked down very early. When there was news from Italy, I remember still I was working in lab, and we were discussing that when our government is going to react. And then suddenly we saw that after 1 week of plan, not suddenly like today I think and tomorrow you are in lockdown, no, but 7 or 10 days plan. But it was still earlier than Italy and Spain because they were hugely affected. Portugal, I think when we went to the lockdown in 16 March, we have just 1 death. And with that, we were already in lockdown, complete lockdown. So that also helped.
Now we are seeing that CR7 is on field now.
Let's see. Though the sports events are being controlled, because the sport events, I think that is one thing which should be controlled, because they're, you know, in the Spain, the spreading was also more, because just before that their outrage, there was one football match there, and so a lot of people come in contact with each other. Sport events should be really restricted, and they should be.
But in a country like India, this distancing is almost a nightmare.
Of course, I completely agree. But that's why my point, I'm also Indian, and I know my families are there. I'm worried about them. But what I'm saying them what to do, okay, in this kind of country where population is less, we can make social distancing. In India, it's not possible. But the thing is that you can do what you can do. You can do wash your hands. You can use the face mask. Okay, you can go. You can restrict your going cinemas or malls or unnecessary outings, right? That we can do. Or unnecessarily gossiping over a crowd. So that we can do.
In front of the
Someone is
tea stall.
asking, ma'am, is it available? Is it possible to share your PPT?
Yes. Oh, it's always ask. Do you see my PPT? No.
No,
Yeah, it's coming.
No, because it's always asking this password.
No,
right?
he's asking whether he should get the PPTs in
Okay.
email or so.
In
Okay,
email.
well.
Oh.
It is possible, I think. Huh?
But it's not actually.
No, not for viewing.
Okay.
Dr.
but-
Bhadroy is asking to receive your PPT through mail or any other mode of
That is
communication.
possible, I think.
Okay, to send you.
Yeah.
Sorry, to send you the PowerPoint. Yes, of course.
Yeah,
I will send. Sorry.
Another question is, what is the role of plasmonic gold nanoparticle in detection of COVID-19?
In detection of
Or
COVID-19.
does any nanoparticle can detect any virus?
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. As I was showing, but I didn't go into deep because I don't have any idea to what level the audience I'm facing. But yes, it is. In fact, many nanoparticles, as I was saying, as you were saying, the gold nanoparticles, the plasmonic gold nanoparticles, they have been hugely used in medical diagnostics, in virus detection, even in the drug delivery, because you can understand the size of the virus is in nano. So something in nano should better confront those kind of viruses. Yes, of course. Different silver nanoparticles, these kind of particles are hugely being tested.
At the bottom in the question answer panel, ma'am, there is some questions for you. You can open the question answer.
Can
Yeah.
nanomaterial use for augmenting immunity?
Are you questioning from this slide that they are saying me to open, or you are asking me the question, Debabrata?
No, the,
No, leave it. It's too many questions. I am
Okay.
sorting only two because
So,
we are enough of taking questions. So
okay.
can nanomaterial use of augmenting immunity?
Well, I think it was also in one of my slides as far as I read in different articles, because I'm not the one who is directly working in this field. But what I read in many research articles, yes. I'm not saying it's of course it's COVID-19 or something, but yes, to develop the immunity, those immunotherapeutics is possible and are being actually done through nanotechnology.
So we are enough of taking questions. Let me end this session. I would like to
So
request
I
Dr.
don't, sorry, I don't need to do this question and answer. There are 6, no. There are 6 questions appearing. Should I answer this?
No, but it's okay, Umitadi.
Okay.
Okay,
Thank you.
let's. I just request Dr. Sarkar to conclude the session.
Okay, thank you once again, Dr. Sumita Goswami, for your wonderful presentation and
Thank you.
question answer session. It was very fruitful to us and our audience also. So thank you very much.
Thank you once again for the invitation, and all the best for the future. Thank you.
thank you.
Tomorrow, that is 7 p.m. and will be active after that 2 days. So don't worry about the feedback form and the participation certificate. Just enjoy our session with enriching your knowledge. With this,
Dr. Bhadra, please ask them to input their affiliation also.
during the LMS registration, you have to put the affiliations also so that we can get your salutation name as well as affiliation in the participation certificate. But don't worry about that. We are generous enough to issue certificates to each and every individuals if you are attending. Don't say again and again for the feedback form and the participation certificate. In due time, we will be getting you in delivering certificates. We are generous enough to get that. So with this, I am requesting Dr. Sarkar to conclude the session today. And for the tomorrow, you have to come back at 10 a.m. sharp because Dr. Bosch is from Dallas, and at that time he was that was the late night of there. So don't be late. We will be starting our session sharp at 10 a.m. tomorrow. Dr. Ria Bosch will